be an interesting contest this first half, isn't it?
It is, checking into this game. Henriksen for Canada, so they have a huge height advantage over the New Zealand side at this stage. This man is the key for the Tall Blacks. Sean Marks, drafted by the Toronto Raptors in the centre position. I imagine, Phil, that in the NBA, I know he looks tall out there at this moment, but a centre NBA standard, some of their point guards are that tall.
They are. Look, certainly we saw at the start of the game here, he shot the three-point shot. You'd imagine in his NBA career, he's playing more as the shooting forward or perhaps outside. Physically, he looks big, as you say here, but he certainly wouldn't play a lot of centre in the NBA. Canada move the ball well, don't they?
Very well. Looking to drive, McCulloch. Oh, nice play that by Hamilton. And they're coming up with the points. They're working the ball around the perimeter and then getting it inside.
They get to the boards very well. McCulloch, who's just come in, did a very good job of getting to the boards then. And, you know, we just said before that Rampton, who subbed in just a couple of minutes ago, is posting up very aggressively and seems very keen to take it to the basket and challenge the Canadians. So he's certainly going to open it up late in the game for the perimeter shooters if he can continue to play that way.
Tony Raptor, another centre for the Kiwis, just the 24 years of age. The old language is a 7-footer.
Gee, they should ban those, shouldn't they?
You understand the old language, Phil, being an old timer, but that's 2.14 metres.
No matter how you say it, it's big, isn't it?
It is big, isn't it? It is big. As the years have gone by, the bigger men are getting better from the free throw line.
There's no question they're better in all departments. As if we look at the Canadians while we get a chance, size-wise they've got it over New Zealand, but I think physically they look a bit bigger as well. So as the game progresses, they may just wear New Zealand down.
They've always had plenty of muscle. They come to every international competition, the Canadians, with that reputation. Sherman Hamilton just taking his time now at the top of the key. Bad ball, that one. Swords it was. Never a chance of getting that inside. Came off Canada. So they'll be looking to set up plenty of plays here for Sean Marks. The number 12 for New Zealand. He's below the basket at the moment. Now just makes his way back out to the top of the key. There he is. Tupou. Chris Tupou kicks it back out. Rapton. Jones. Big looping high shot, but they're off target at this stage. 8-7. Oh. Strong block.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Look, once the ball goes into the low post there, you really are in trouble at this level. They're either going to score on you or there's a high percentage chance that they'll draw a foul and get to the free throw line. So it's interesting now we see the coaches getting the players in and out to try and get them a feel for the game.
Number 7, Randy Gore, and number 9, Jerome Robinson.
This is the man we've been speaking about, Todd McCulloch, of the Philadelphia 76ers. Plenty of size about him. He's another 7-footer, but he's also got a lot of muscle about him.
Yeah,
the upper body.
That Todd spends most of his time around the keyway, so he looks very comfortable around there as well.
Very much a bumper bar, it would be. Looking forward to this championship, he said. Tupou. Tony Rapton. Tupou again. Minchinick went high. Out it comes now. Jerome Robinson. Just very quick down the court, Robinson, then he pulls up. They're moving the ball around the perimeter well. Just took that extra step closer, but still unsuccessful. That foul will go against McCulloch.
Number 11.
Sean Marks. They've The foul is there on Sean Marks, so the Canadians are having some troubles also containing that man, Sean Marks.
Yeah, look, he's certainly going to give us some problems. I think once again he's shown that he can play down in the low post. He looked comfortable there. He can get outside, take the open shot. So with his skills and agility, he's going to give the Canadians some problems.
I don't think they can argue against that foul call either, the Canadians. They're clear by 3.
Just wondering when the Canadians would have arrived here. Terry, where there's a little bit of jet lag. Perhaps only came in the last day or two.
They were very eager to be playing in this championship because there will be no lead-up matches apart from this tournament over the next 6 days.
Just Rampton's, you know, he's on song down there in the low post, doing an excellent job for New Zealand as they close the gap now. Canada up by the single point, 10-9.
Robinson. Charging foul goes against Robinson, so that's great defensive play there by the Kiwis, and in particular Rampton.
Yeah, he's been very impressive, both ends of the floor. He's certainly got New Zealand back in this game.
Substitution for New Zealand. Number 6, Kirk Penny.
He had good position there. The feet were planted, Rampton.
No doubt about it. Tough call for the referees, that one too, the charge. I think that's usually earns the ire of the crowd, doesn't it? It's either going to be a good call for some and a bad one for the other, even if the umpire's got it right, which he certainly had then.
I guess you've got to give the defensive player some sort of credit.
You do. Certainly in Europe they don't. The Europeans much more into the offensive players, and we'll see that as the championships unfold as well.
Tupou. It's Billy Mildenhall with the ball now. One of our very best in controlling matches. And enjoys the international stuff, Billy.
Yes, excellent Kilda footballer.
And VFL player.
Yes, there's a tremendous rapport with the players. And look, I'd have to agree. I think he would be our best umpire and one of the best in the world when when he's umpired internationally.
Just ask him.
Yeah, Billy would tell you that, wouldn't he?
He won't mind me saying that, Billy, I hope.
Gee, he's got to umpire us next year, so I'll be very careful.
Too late now, I've already said it.
Well, Tupi's nudged the New Zealand team in front.
Solid. Again, that's great defensive play. Sean Marks got up there high above the basket. Just hammered it back. So he does it at both ends of the court. Great to see.
Yeah, it's been terrific. Certainly, Marks and Rampton have given New Zealand a presence inside offensively and defensively.
Tupou. Rampton. Trying to get it inside to Sean Marks. Good drive. They can't tip it in at this stage. Robinson comes away.
Personal foul to number 9, Brad Riley.
Yeah, there we see it again on the replay. Defensively, Mark's doing an excellent job.
Mavis. Over the top. Robinson thought about the shot. Back to Mavis now. Swords. Robinson, big three, downtown, hear the buzzer. Makes a difference, doesn't it?
Gee, he didn't even give that a second thought, did he? He didn't even measure the range, he just let it go and it was nothing but net. So once again, we see the Canadians not scared to take that shot a couple of metres back from the three-point line.
Sean Marks can't get the ball inside.
Yeah, gee, look, that's just a tremendous shot, isn't it, Terry? I mean, he's a good 3 steps back from the three-point line. That's the NBA three-point line we're looking at there as we see Tupi draw a foul to get himself to the free throw line. So it's, I just wonder how much longer that Rampton can contain his presence for New Zealand. Just that once again, he's been terrific work rate, and he just starts to look like he's tiring now. And he's been the one, along with Marks, that's had the big impact in New Zealand's team.
This is Chris Tupou on the line.
Been pretty solid for him since he's come in the game, hasn't he?
He's added that extra bit of dash in the back court, which I think they lacked in the early minutes of this game. Tupu, who would pride himself from the charity stripe. Successful the first one, just as good the second.
No doubt about it. The guards tend to work fairly hard in that area. They don't get too many uncontested shots, so when they get the opportunity, they like to maximise them.
I think the Canadians are getting a little bit of a shock here. This is the opening game of the Slam Down Under Championship, sponsored by Energy Australia. And the Kiwis are certainly doing a good job against Canada at this stage. Robinson.
Yeah, just penetrated in the key, used his body very well to draw the foul and get himself to the free throw line as well. One of the veterans for New Zealand comes in now, Peter Pokai. He's been with them a long time. I would say just quickly giving our friend Tony Rampton a breather there, because he, as I said before, he looked like he was starting to trouble, to tire more than trouble.
That's Robinson on screen, and Pokai, that Phil is speaking of, is the 13 in the black singlet. You can't miss him. One of the biggest men out there. Topu. Riley. Oh, good play by Riley, but play on was the call from...
Oh, good penetration by Randy Noah. Canada seem to be trying to pick up the tempo just a little bit more now on the missed shots to try and get those easier transition baskets. A tough penetration, drew the foul well. Probably unlucky not to finish that off, actually.
Very unlucky. Great balance. Just got the right hand out there to palm up. Eddie Noor. No luck on that occasion. They lead by just the one, the Canadians. But I stress really that they come here with a lot bigger reputation than the New Zealand side. Their team basically made up of local players apart from Sean Marks.
Yeah, it's interesting. The shooting percentage for both teams is pretty low. You know, for New Zealand, for Canada, 25%. New Zealand, 27%. That's unusual at this level, isn't it? But you have to credit the defence with that, and once again adjusting to the venue. So that's why the teams are competing in this tournament, to try and make that adjustment prior to the Olympics.
Sean Marks, Topu. Brad Riley likes to drive towards the basket. Topu thought about the three, faked. Pokai. Basically his first touch of this game, Pokai. And the foul was on Sean Marks. 2-point ball game. Timeout has been called by the Kiwis, so they'll get down and they'll stop this run they've had. Just a minor run that the Canadians have been able to put on and pull 2 points clear.
It's an interesting one. You have that feeling that eventually Canada are going to open the game up, but full credit to New Zealand. They've taken it straight to Canada and been very solid and structured in the way that they've got the ball inside to their players. Just a question again whether, you know, the players for New Zealand, whether Marks can continue to play at the pace he's played at for the whole game. I think if they can wear him down, then that will open things up. And certainly the Canadians appear to have a bigger front line that would go a long way into wearing those players down.
Robinson, that's that beautiful three-pointer we saw just moments ago. And I think you'll see a little bit more of them, because once a shooter gets going, particularly Phil, when they make a good start, they'd love to just keep popping them up.
Keep it flowing. Of course, that would help the Canadians too, because you can only take away so many things in the game. And right now we're seeing the Canadians and New Zealand are trying to get the ball inside low to their players. Now, once they start to score, then the defense has to drop down, and that opens it up for the outside shooters. And as we've said before, the Canadians don't seem to be too concerned about shooting it from a long range, although I guess they're very comfortable at the moment. Just, well, they seem to really just be hanging in there. New Zealand seem to be on top at the moment.
Hamilton, 1 from 2 from the line, and that's great aggressive play there by Tupu. Be a jump ball.
Now, who have you got your money on here, Terry?
I'll back Robinson, I think. Pokai did a good job to get up there. Penny, Kirk Penny, Robinson, making life hard for him. Topo, Pokai. Trapped at the top of the keyway now, Brad Riley. Topai again, Pokai, long range for three, never a chance. He says it was touched. He thinks he was fouled on the way through. I don't know about that.
No, I don't think the coach would have been all that happy with that shot. I think it was a little bit ambitious, although Pokai's player is standing off in the keyway, helping out on Mark, so he has to remain a threat in there.
Call me old-fashioned, but he doesn't look like a three-point shooter.
No, I think you're right there, Terry. Perhaps at training he might make a couple, but in a game like this, a little bit different.
Noor, back again. Garachi, outside, bomb comes down from Greg Francis.
That didn't look like it was going to drop for him either. It's a bit of a rush shot.
Eager to get out there and impress his coach, no doubt. Francis hasn't seen a lot of court time so far in this game. Topo, Pokai, trapped on that baseline, drives along that baseline. Travel is the call.
Yeah, it's funny, the Canadians just seem to be asserting a bit more pressure defensively now and taking New Zealand out of their rhythm, and a couple of substitutions in for New Zealand. They just haven't quite got the flow of the game. Gee, a terrific pass in from Randy Noah. He's made a couple of good looks like that from the top of the key, not scared to take a bit of a gamble to get it inside of the big player straight away.
I'm not too sure if that timeout has worked for New Zealand. It was a 2-point margin when they called the timeout. Things were still going okay at that stage. Since then, they've been unable to score, and Canada's been able to stretch that advantage just a touch.
Yeah, I think when Rampton went out of the game also for his breather for New Zealand, you know, that they lost a little bit just there. Not that, you know, Pokai was doing anything wrong when he came in, just that Rampton seemed to be troubling the Canadians, and that was freeing Marks up a little bit as well. So as Marks goes out for a breather and Rampton comes back in.
Garachi off target on that occasion. Topu, very quick down the court is Topu. Penny, Kirk Penny, along the baseline, kicks it back out now. Philip Jones for Topu. Penny is busy around the court.
A terrific pass.
Pokai hard off the backboard.
Yeah, probably a little bit unlucky there. That was a fantastic two-man game. Penny getting it back to Pokai. Just couldn't quite finish it off. It sort of rimmed around for him, and then I guess with enthusiasm came over the back and drew a foul. Expensive foul, that one, though, to walk the length of the court just to shoot some free throws. Of course, New Zealand in foul trouble. The Canadians shooting the bonus free throws.
Henriksen off the backboard. I don't know if he was too happy with that. When it left his hand, he was about to race up, and
I don't know that he meant that either.
he left the line in embarrassment, didn't he?
Oh, well, maybe he did. We'll take it wrong. The second one went the same way.
Well, the second one was ugly, but the difference was it didn't count. Yeah. The first one did. 4-point ball game we've got. Canada in front by 17-13. 6:40 to go in the opening half of this opening game of Energy Australia Slam Down Under. Full Olympic test event. Great play that by the Kiwis, and Tony Rampton, you saw him early in this game, Phil. You like what you see?
Yeah, he's impressive, isn't he? It's a terrific work rate. Certainly become an excellent focal point for New Zealand. I think once again with himself and Marks in the game, they're very, very dangerous in the interior.
Trapped on the baseline, kicks it back out. Greg Francis. Hamilton.
New Zealand doing a very good job at the stage. Oh, great penetration.
Great play by the Canadians without a basket in the end.
That was terrific penetration by Daniels. Unlucky not to get the assist in the basket on that one. We see him penetrate here. Terrific pass. Gee, he probably should have shot that one. That extra pass allowed the shot clock to expire on them.
There's nothing worse when you put together the penetration, the great lead-up play like that, and the shot clock just gets you right in the buzzer.
Oh, don't you? Or the shooter misses it. They're a real heartbreaker for the team. Canada are picking up full court now to see if they can try and change the tempo of the game a little bit.
You can see the Canadians who have that touch of class about them, but at this stage on the scoreboard, still a 2-point ball game.
Oh,
Jones, no charge is the call. The Canadians were looking for a good hustle though. They come away. What's the transition going to be like? Daniels kicks it back, plenty of open space there for Greg Francis. That hurts.
Yeah, it does feel that New Zealand were unlucky not to get a foul call there, but the Canadians played through it and opened up a nice outside shot for Francis.
Just had a bucket load of time, Greg Francis. He got lonely out there. He was waiting that long, Greg Francis. Topa. Daniels is doing a good job on him. Strips him of the ball. Away they go again through Francis. Already has 1 3-pointer. Hamilton. Inside they go to Henriksen. Henriksen, well, he's just got that big height advantage. Michael Meeks, unsuccessful from 3-point land.
He's a little bit ambitious as well.
Great play.
Tough shot by Jones again. He likes to get on that side of the floor for that little runner. Being the left-hander, I think both his baskets have been on that running style of shot.
Daniels from the top of the key for 3. Pushing under the basket. So Jones has just the 4 points. He's 2 from 4 from the field. Three-point ball game. The Kiwis, they refuse to go away. Fantastic tenacity they've shown.
Gee, they're a great sporting nation, though, aren't they? America's Cup, rugby union, and certainly, you know, over time, Australia's had to play New Zealand to qualify for the World Championships and Olympics, and although they've only lost to them once, New Zealand have always given, you know, a tough showing and been tremendous competitors.
That is an amazing record that the Boomers do have against the Kiwis. They've met on 34 occasions, and it's 33-1.
Yeah, gee, a couple of them have been titanic, though, I can assure you of that.
Away they come. Jones. Bounce ball. Back for Jones again. Looking to get the ball to Penny. They kick it across. Hanare. Cameron. Good on the baseline, but it was 3-on-1. He was never going to win that battle. That was lazy defense.
Yeah, I was just trying to assess whether that was more the professional foul to try and pull them up to stop the transition basket, but when you're in the penalty situation, there's really not an advantage to it, and certainly with the talent that's on the floor, you would imagine that, you know, at this level, Hamilton would be fairly proficient and make both of these, which would negate that being a good foul.
You mentioned rugby union. It wasn't too far from a very good All Black tackle, was it?
Just bordering on head high.
Sherman Hamilton. Around the 6-1 mark. From my maths, that calculates to about 185.
Yeah, what New Zealand don't want to happen here in the next really 3 minutes and 30 that's left on the clock is for Canada to get out of a big lead. They've done very well to stay in the game, and if it was a 3 or 5 point ball game at half time, they'd be very happy.
Turn
Gee,
around.
terrific move. Gee, that was a fantastic move by Penny. He's looked very comfortable out there for a young lad, hasn't he?
He has. 50% from the field for Penny. Canadians.
Gee, unlucky. Really very impressed. Daniels has given Canada some bite. You know, he's good penetration and some good passing. The Canadians just the last couple of times down the floor haven't finished off inside. So, you know, good pressure by New Zealand to make them take a difficult shot.
It's not easy to knock Pharaoh Cameron off his balance and off his feet, but it was a solid charge. So he'll now line up on the free throw line.
Interesting to see how the coaches are approaching this particular game. They seem to have got everybody into the game. The coaches are having a look at all their personnel, and once again, it's a tournament, one, that you want to prepare for the Olympics, but two, to try and get your rotations and players settled in prior to the Olympic Games.
And also, a lot of these teams not totally settled. on their lineups for the game. So for the players, it may be 10:30 in the morning or now 10 past 11. It could be midnight, it could be 8:30 at night, but this game just as important to impress the coach.
No doubt about it. And of course, at the Olympics, you have the morning games and the evening games. So once again, it's a preparation to be able to deal with that.
Quick hands by Canada. They get it inside eventually. Good solid play. He's back out there now, the big centre, Todd McCulloch, but unable to come up. Pulls up, shoots it, bombs it away. 1 point ball game now.
Jones is, New Zealand get that transition game going. They look very, very efficient as well.
In fact, that puts them 3 clear. The Kiwis in front. Daniels, beautiful ball, solid D over the top by Cameron.
It's good penetration by Swartz. He's just come into the game, so he's not showing any nervousness, just took it aggressively to the basket.
Gave away the foul there, but at least the Kiwis are showing, if you want to come into our house, you want to get into our lounge room, it's going to be a bit of a battle.
There is. Look, it's interesting. We were just saying a couple of minutes ago that New Zealand wouldn't want to go in at half-time down by any more than 3 or 5, and they've managed to spin it around and come out on top of the Canadians. So certainly it's you would imagine it's going to be pretty tight at half-time.
Sean Swartz. It's a vital 2 there. 1 point ball game now. 2:20 to go in this opening half. A very good contest. Speaking to some of the experts before this game, they thought that the Canadians would be way too strong for the Kiwis. Not the case so far. Oh, beautiful ball.
Penny again.
Penny from outside. That's the second one we've seen from him.
New Zealand's starting to get their confidence up at the moment from the perimeter, aren't they? I think the other thing, the Canadians were talked about very favourably coming into this tournament, but there's still 3 of their top line players are out. Obviously, Rick Fox is still with the Lakers.
Steve Nash, point guard for the Dallas Mavericks.
Yes, I reckon Garrett's in Venezuela playing at the moment, so it's an open shot. Good ball movement again by the Canadians. Gee, there's that man again, Rampton. He's in everything at the moment, isn't he?
The Canadians also missing maybe their most famous player, in Bill Wennington, who of course played with the Chicago Bulls throughout the Michael Jordan era. Now, Bill, I believe the news is that he may not be playing for Canada at these Olympics.
Oh, I think he's got a few injury problems there. His body's probably saying, I need to have a break, and basically I earn more money in the NBA than I'm going to get here at the Olympics. But look, I think full credit to New Zealand. They've taken it right up to the Canadians, and you know, it's just been a terrific battle.
They're in front by 4, and that vital period we spoke about, the final 3 minutes of this opening half, the Canadians have blown a 2-point advantage. Now they're down by 4. The Kiwis lifting the pace.
Substitutions for New Zealand, number 15, Harold Cameron.
5-point ball game now. Fouls are 8 apiece. Sherman Hamilton, David Daniels. Daniels pops one up from around 10 feet. Cameron just landed in his arms. Hanare with Cameron. Good drive this by Philip Jones. Kirk Penny, he's been busy since back out there. Motion is the call from the bench. Get players in motion. They do exactly that. Philip Jones again. So Jones now has 6 points for the match. And that last basket made it 8 points for the game. Daniels. Again, thought about the shot. Gets it inside. Todd McCulloch. Foul trouble now for the Kiwis. They're playing tough under the basket. 31-24. Maybe the first big boil over of the championship in the opening game coming your way. 8 hours of live international basketball on C7 today. And the charity stripe, down it goes. Sean Swartz. Hanare. Into the front court now. Penny, been impressive. Cameron, big man delivers it back. Hickey's out there, the 14, Henare. Philip Jones, who's hot at the moment, he's sizzling, Jones. What a way to finish the opening half of basketball here at the Slam Down Under Championship. 34-26, and the Kiwis have simply been on fire for that final 3 minutes of the opening half. They have 34 on the board. They're shooting just less than 50% from the field. 43% in fact. So maybe the opening upset of the championship we have on our hands. It's the Kiwis in front by 34-26. We'll take a short break. Welcome back to the Energy Australia Slam Down Under Championship, the opening game and maybe the opening upset. We've got the Canadians on court at the moment against the Kiwis. And it's the Canadians who are under pressure. That would have relieved a lot of that pressure, Phil.
Certainly would have. It's interesting, both coaches have started with a couple of players that didn't see any action in the first half, so they are experimenting a little bit with their groups. The shooting percentages were just very, very poor for both groups, but certainly told the story for Canada. They shot at 17% from the floor. New Zealand shot at 40. That tells the difference right there. Rebounding.
Cameron with a three of his own.
Terrific shot, wasn't it? And as we go through that, just quickly, Terry, the rebounding, New Zealand had 19 for the half and Canada only 8. So certainly those two statistics are fairly glaring in giving us the result where we are. Well, things are going to be a little bit more physical in this half, no doubt about it.
Well, if they don't improve that percentage from the floor of 17%, they'll be losing this opening game of the series without a doubt.
No question. And we see Meeks from Canada going at it against Cameron down there in the low post. A bit of pushing and shoving. Early substitution. Coach obviously not too pleased with him.
Todd McCulloch is out there for Canada, the star for this side who plays with the Philadelphia 76ers in the NBA Championship. Driving, now sent back is Andrew Mavis. Mavis trapped on that baseline. It's a turnover. Cameron was there.
I'll tell you, New Zealand's defence has been very, very solid in forcing the Canadians into some early mistakes in this game. They had the open three-point shot that, as you said, would have made a difference, but a turnover there certainly would start to give New Zealand a bit of confidence.
Yeah, the 13 for Canada, Garachi, Peter Garachi, he's back out there now. He impressed me in the moments he played in that opening half. Cameron from outside for three. Oh, bobbled around for a long while. Daniels. Andrew Mavis, Garachi. Hamilton, inside they go to the tall timber. It's pretty effective, isn't it, McCulloch?
Yeah, look, the Canadians have been trying to get that in there early in the first half and couldn't do it. And I guess, as we've said, once it's in there, that's going to create them with some problems.
Interesting, the Boomers, when they play tonight, may be the same problem, because now Barry Barnes, the coach of the Boomers, he has 3 guys in the lineup who are 7-footers. Now, it's great to have them, but you've got to make the best of them,
Make the best of them, yeah. Look, they're going to take a little while too, and we all look forward to that game tonight. And, you know, there's still some pressure for positions there. Gee, a nice little pump fake there. Gee, he's been impressive. Just been very, very efficient for Jones, hasn't he? I think they've probably taken up to about 8 or 10 points for the game. Gee, a quick reply by Canada. You know, as we see Mavis, we can see a lot of him in the first half.
Jones has 10 points for Canada. In fact, New Zealand, I should say, in the top 4. Canada at this stage is 6 for McCulloch. Not afraid to pump them up, the Kiwis at this stage. Good defensive rebound, that though. Andrew Mavis. It's Mavis again. At the offensive end of the court, Daniels. Good screen set by McCulloch. Garachi.
Yeah, terrific movement by the Canadians. A nice little shovel pass, wasn't it?
Mate, when in trouble, you go to the money man.
That's it.
And that's what McCulloch is for the Canadians. Cameron, strong drive. They'll get a second chance. Bump back out. McCulloch has it. Away for Daniels. Good transition this. The fake. And down it goes. The basket will count.
Good movement between both Daniels and Hamilton then, with Hamilton with a little fake at the end to open himself up and draw a foul. We see him pump fake the pass, opens it up.
That's enough, thank you. Okay, that's it. I've given you a warning, that's enough. I'm talking about the assistant coach, not you. One.
Yeah, well, Billy Mildenhall obviously not too happy with the coaches over there. Big Stan Hill, former national player for New Zealand and a terrific player as well, obviously has exchanged words with Bill, and he's had enough of that.
Can I just say, Stan Hill is a giant of a man.
Oh.
I wouldn't be too harsh on him, Billy.
Yes.
Driving down court now, Henare.
Lattimore, we didn't see him at all in the first half, so interesting to see.
Cameron got the ball inside to Lattimore. Outside shot, Henare. You're bumping under the basket.
Gee, the umpires have been very quick on that, haven't they? Any, sort of movement over the back of the players, any form of push in there, and they've been right onto that. You look at it here on the replay, he couldn't pick it up, but it didn't look like it was a big bump, but I suppose he got the advantage there, so it was a fair call.
Daniels at the top of the key. McCulloch, look how big and strong he is. He got to the basket. He was glad wrap over it on that occasion. Kicks it back down. Henare. Hickey standing at the top of the key. Cameron now. Garachi has him covered. McCulloch is there. Will there be a foul? That height advantage.
Doubles in for him as well.
You could see the foul coming there. McCulloch was all over his back.
It's funny, Hickey didn't look like he was all that comfortable to make the move, and then once he got in there, played it very, very well. Drew the foul. 3-point play, a chance to push New Zealand just a little bit further ahead.
Chance of Hickey 1, Hickey 2, Hickey 3 here from the charity stripe.
Oh, you've still got it, Terry. See, as we see Marks come back in, he's had quite a good rest, so you would imagine he'd be able to see a large portion of this half out, and that certainly would be good for New Zealand, and they still have the opportunity again to bring Rampton back in, who was very impressive for New Zealand in the first half.
Can't complete the 3-point play. That's a shame.
Oh, geez, quick hands then. Gee, Hanar was unlucky not to come up with that for New Zealand. Well, in fact, he has come up with it. He's forced the turnover.
I'll get the ball. It'll be brought in bounds by Lattimore. Oh, Henare positioned himself. It counts the basket.
There's goaltending too. It's a terrific read by Lattimore from the out of bounds to pass that in. Hanar has been working very, very solidly for New Zealand.
Baseline
fantastic
drive.
rebound.
Peter Garachi came up with that offensive rebound.
Garachi thought he was fouled as well. The Canadians look better when they push the ball down the floor and create that transition basket. Gee, fantastic pass.
Hamilton. They've been very busy out there. Sherman Hamilton.
Heinrichsen just sort of lost it there at the last minute.
So McCulloch is back out of this ball game for Canada. Garachi came up with the rebound. Hamilton pulls up. This would be a great three, it is.
Yeah, terrific. He had his stride. The transition again the last couple of times down the floor. The Canadians have certainly looked to push the ball at the New Zealand team. Gee, fantastic backdoor play. It was a terrific pass by Hickey. Once again, Jones has certainly making an impact in this game.
Now getting as good as they get, the Kiwis.
Certainly staying with them.
And now this lead is getting out to 7 points. Oh. Fantastic play by Hamilton. Big bomb again from Daniels from outside.
The Canadians are starting to hit those 3-point shots now. It's going to make a difference to the game. You know, New Zealand can come down here, get a nice steadying basket. Those 3-pointers tend to give you a bit of a rush, but then you get scored on again. It just balances out pretty well. Yeah, good patience by New Zealand.
Jones, one of the key destroyers for the Kiwis.
Certainly a good combination. Jones and Marks on the same side together. Very tough to contain them.
Marks is up there looking for that offensive rebound.
Yeah, lucky.
Doesn't quite get it. McCulloch is still sitting down, the star for the Canadians. Hamilton. So the basket will count, and the foul also will count against the Kiwis. We'll go to the line and try and complete the three-point play.
Certainly gets the ball over there nicely. Hamilton with that pump fake. Jones probably shouldn't have reached in. There was no way he was going to stop him. I think he realised himself when he did it that was a mistake. And the Canadians look like they're just starting to get their heads up a little bit now, don't they?
They've got it back to a 2-point game, this to make it just the single point.
And once again, the tempo's gone the Canadians' way the last 3 or 4 minutes with that transition again. Canadians looking to push the ball down the floor.
The quicker they play it, the better they look, the Canadians.
Certainly at this stage, yeah.
Topu, and he adds that speed in the backcourt for the Kiwis.
Well, he was the one that came on and got them going early again, and so we see Rampton back in for New Zealand as well, which was efficient. So certainly the New Zealand coaches brought back a couple of his big guns.
Optimistic shot. Sean Marks got the ball though off the backboard. Topu, 3 points, helps a lot.
He's been solid for them, hasn't he? You could almost bet that that was going to be a high percentage shot for him too, because he doesn't take a lot.
He's just the 5'10", is Topu, the number 4 for the Kiwis. The smallest man from either side, and maybe the smallest man in this entire championship, but the shot, immaculate.
Goes to show that size is not the only thing in this game, doesn't it?
Mavis, Andrew Mavis, starting his second half, and
nice
starting
move.
it in great fashion.
Fantastic move. Canadians look a little bit bogged down when they haven't got that transition, but certainly that penetration then by Mavis opened it up.
Chris Topu. Lattimore. Back again for Rampton. Karachi got the defensive rebound. Henriksen. Daniels. Karachi.
I think Hamilton wants to try and take him on too.
Very keen Sherman Hamilton.
Pass off, passed it out.
There's a lot of traffic there, and the good thing about the Kiwis is there's been no soft baskets despite the speed of the Canadians down the court.
Yeah, certainly you mentioned that in the first half, Terry, and they've continued to take it again in this second half. The Canadians look like they're going to close the gap and come over the top, but New Zealand have been able to weather that and come up with the answers. They just need to take away that transition, and I think New Zealand could sneak away with it, but if the Canadians can maintain the 2 tempo they've got going at the moment, it may just be a little bit too much. Good penetration and kick.
Hamilton again kicks it back out. Daniels fumbled it and stopped him from making the shot. He was off balance.
Yeah, he just sort of, as you said, fumbled the pass and couldn't get his rhythm into the shot. I would imagine, given an opportunity, he'd be a high percentage shooter on a good pass.
Very good battle between the 2 number 4s here. And Daniels and Topu. So keep an eye on that. We thought it was going to be the battle between the big men, which would be the focal point, McCulloch and Sean Marks, but really Daniels and Topu have been going at it, hammer and tong.
No doubt about it. There's been a couple of real nice clashes in this. Certainly a steadying time out here. Both coaches get a chance to, I guess, try and get their teams back into the rhythm. Certainly for New Zealand, they don't want to be in that up and down game with the Canadians. And the Canadians obviously want that style of game to continue in this half. That's closed the gap for them. 2 down.
Come on, baby, keep it going, wait!
No doubt about it, as we go into the timeout there, you can hear Jay Triano saying he's very happy with the penetration, either to the basket or the penetrate, the kick for the open shot. Low post players continue to be active, and we need a good effort on the board. So once again, he would have recognised at half-time that was an area where they fell down.
Shooting percentage by the Canadians also has improved to around the 36% mark, which is a hell of a lot better than 17.
Well, they certainly need to do that to open it up inside for the big players. See that penetration kick that he talked about in the timeout, opens up a nice open shot. Gee, he's been impressive, Mavis, in this half, hasn't he? We didn't see him at all in the first half. Perhaps a little bit of a secret weapon there.
As the 7 points, 3 from 7 from the field is Mavis. 1 from 2 from the free throw line. Inside they go to Marks. Stripped of the ball. Great D being played by the Canadians on Marks. Outside, there he goes again. Sherman Hamilton, his second 3 of the day.
Well, the Canadians have certainly got the flow of the game in their direction at the moment. New Zealand, yeah, very clever play, take it inside to Marks. That's the mismatch for them right now. They want to try and go inside to him and create some problems for the Canadians. Canadians conversely want to get that tempo going and try and get those open shots on the penetration kick.
Canadians now, they're back in front by just 2. So the halftime talk by their coach and Jay Torino has worked a treat. Marks has the 4 points. It was up there a long time. They followed it up well. Was that goaltending?
No, certainly not. Once it's on the ring, it's open slather. Great pass. Tremendous pass. Yeah, good court vision by Noor. Get that one in.
Tofu.
Been a momentum swing now, hasn't there?
Big change in this game now. The Canadians are lifting the pace, lifting the tempo. This wayward ball will hurt. Andrew Mavis was very quick down the court to chase that ball.
It was pretty quick for Tapu to pick that up and just deflect it out of court. Had he been able to pick it up just a half a second earlier, they had another layup.
They're trying to get the ball to Hamilton. He's got the hot hand at the moment. Henriksen. Noor. Andrew Mavis. Hamilton. Can't get there. Marks is there. I thought he got the first grab, but it's a ball up.
Gee, he had an easier shot than that, I thought too. Then Hamilton, he tried to make it just a little bit too fancy and I guess lost it altogether as it went over the top of the ring. Yeah, as we see Mavis go out for rest for Canada. He's been very impressive, I thought, in getting them back in the game. Robinson comes in. Of course, he hit that big three-point shot early in the first half. So Canadians starting to find their range and giving New Zealand some problems now on the perimeter. Good penetration again.
And ignore the basket won't count on that occasion.
No basket. Foul was 4.
But they have blown this out to 4 now. They see that final foul. I thought he might have been in the act of shooting when he got that away.
No, I think he called it just before he started. It's interesting, I think if the New Zealanders can contain the penetration right now, then they can probably sneak back on top in this game. But if not, then that penetration's really starting to present them with some problems.
Henriksen. Randy Noor. Robinson. Oh, good quick hands from Robinson. That's the second slam of this half now. The Canadians are back on song.
And once again, the penetration started with Noah and it just continued from then on. So New Zealand may have to play just a step back and concede the shot over a hand as allowing that penetration.
Penny. Marks. Just puts it back for Topo.
He got out of jail. The shot clock down to 8 seconds. Clever play by Riley to draw the foul on that one.
Sherman Hamilton was the Canadian there to give up the foul. He's very disappointed with the call, though, as they always are. So the fresh troops are coming on now for the Kiwis. Philip Jones, he checks back into this game, and I think they need him out there at this stage.
He's a very, very efficient player for them.
He has 15 points for the Kiwis. Marks. That's a 2-point shot, but it's flat all the way. Always a good sign when your teammates are fighting with you over a defensive rebound. Big ball, this one. Hamilton bounces away. They'll get a second chance.
A little bit out of his range there. That one was a bit ambitious. I think he's been feeling it, but he's might be due to have a breather on that shot. I think Jay Triano would be saying that's not a good shot mentally. You're not in the game. Gee, great hands. Good hustle then again.
Jones was the player. Philip Jones.
He certainly comes in and makes things happen for New Zealand, doesn't he? Defensively and offensively.
Kiwis, they won their Oceania group to qualify for the Olympics.
Australia normally compete in that Oceania draw, but because they're the host country, of course, they're automatic qualifiers. So
What a great advantage that is.
it's terrific, isn't it?
They would have got through that easily enough. They're now rated the 9th best country in the world. The Boomers, they do battle tonight. Don't forget that game. All the action live, but they have slipped, haven't they, after 4th at Atlanta and now 9th.
Yes, I'd expect you to see them back up fighting for a medal at these Olympics. Of course, it's going to be very tough for them, but you know, they're a very accomplished group. Once they finalise their team, I think we'll see some terrific things from the Boomers.
Greg Francis, Jerome Robinson, Karachi, Francis again. Jones is doing a good job on him.
They're good hands.
And that was good defensive pressure from Philip Jones. Vucinic. Jones, he's the key player. He's got 15 points. Good ball, that one, for Marks. Now they look to penetrate. Lattimore. And following up the shot. They come up with 2 and a much needed 2, really. Now on 52, the Canadians 56.
Certainly, you know, Hamilton out of the game now. I was just about to say, you wouldn't believe it, that we need Robertson to step up from the perimeter for them, or someone to step up, because they seemed a bit strained that last time down the floor, a bit standstillish. Good defensive pressure by New Zealand, by Canada, sorry. A couple of quick substitutions here. Phil Meeks played very well for the Canadians on the last tour. I'd be looking for a bit more out of him in this tournament.
The Canadians were 12th at the World Championships in Athens. And back in 1988 at the Olympics, they finished in 6th position. That was 2 behind the Boomers. Greg Francis kicks it back out. Plenty of time here for Meeks. Michael Meeks, though, despite the time, unable to make the shot.
Yeah, tough to come in off the bench and shoot a 3-pointer straight up when you've been sitting there and you're cold for a little while. Canadians once again, though, the penetration opened up the shot for them. A nice uncontested shot.
This is Cameron
And good ball movement by New Zealand.
on the baseline.
To Rampton.
Rampton, the turnaround jumper.
He's just started to tire in this half, Rampton, hasn't he? We talked about that earlier, whether the physical size and weight of the Canadians would start to wear them down, and it seems to be just a little bit that way at the moment.
Probably also, I think, a little bit of professionalism and, you know, the touch of class that comes from Canada, and the day in, day out drills are certainly working now.
Yeah, certainly the Canadians are exposed more to the international style of game than the New Zealanders, and that's always been a disadvantage for them, as it has been for Australia. Geographically and financially, it's hard to match that, so you tend to be able to go fairly well early, and then that fatigue factor sets in. Certainly they've got a smaller, quicker group on the floor now, New Zealand.
Yeah, also keep in mind that the Canadian team, they came up through the Americas division, which is very strong. The likes of Brazil and Argentina, a little bit stronger than the Oceania group, isn't it?
Certainly. Well, it's a good open shot then.
Yeah, Jones it was who pumped it up. He has 15 points. He's 7 from 9.
Yeah, good penetration.
He's not going to die wondering, though, is he?
No,
Philip Jones
Tough on that.
goes to 17. He's game high scorer. Hamilton has 15 for the Canadians. Greg Francis. They're starting to control the tempo of this game, the Canadians. They're playing at the speed they want. 6-point break. Randy Knorr. Off and running again, the Kiwis. They slow it up, trying to get Jones involved in this play. Rampton.
A bit tougher for New Zealand now in the slow down game to try and post up if they don't have the size on the floor. So the penetration, gee, terrific move, bad luck. Here's a great pass, bad luck.
They kick it back again. The points will count.
It was good trail by Meeks, good vision too by Knorr to see him coming down the middle. Just starting to open up a little bit more for the Canadians. Certainly that transition has helped them, and the penetration has given them the edge just over New Zealand at the moment.
The speed of the game and the tempo now starting to tell against the Kiwis. Don't forget, they led at the half-time break by 34 to 26.
Well, certainly that, and the shooting percentage by the Canadians has picked up, but that's been helped largely by that penetration and the kick-out pass that's giving the shooters a chance to get set, not having to shoot over any hands.
Milchnik kicks it back now for Rampton. Cameron.
A terrific pass by Rampton, and a real good move by Cameron. Tough, strong move to the basket to draw the foul. You see it here, he puts it on the floor hard, makes contact with the body. He was probably lucky he did make contact with the body, because McCulloch was certainly coming across quickly to try and block that shot.
Well, 5 personal fouls. That will not help Michael Meeks.
No timeout. Sub, in he comes.
It's he threw those up fairly quickly, didn't he? Snuck under the guard there.
Didn't waste any time.
No.
Michael Meeks, 5 personal fouls.
He certainly played, very physical player, Meeks. There's a couple of important free throws here for New Zealand. And
Pero Cameron and the player on the line, he's got the 6 points. He made the 2.
about it. Look, the shooting percentage has picked up now, hasn't it? 3-point percentage for New Zealand shot up to 57%. For the Canadians at 43%. So, you know, the 2-point percentage is now over the 40%. The first half, they were both under 30.
Greg Francis. Karachi. Now for Randy Noor. Big long bomb by Greg Francis. It counts for 3.
Watch your arms, you two. Watch your arms.
This is the biggest lead now the Canadians have had. It's out to 9 points. Cameron loses control. Soft turnover.
That was a good non-call by the umpire. Then I think Cameron thought he was fouled, but there really wasn't much in that.
Out there also in 11 is Todd McCulloch. I look to get the ball inside to him.
Tough shot.
He's short swords though. He'd like to do it the hard way.
Canadians definitely got more size on the floor at the moment than New Zealand. That transition would really help New Zealand now to try and run the bigger Canadian players.
Cameron. Right in front of the Canadian bench, that call. Wasn't overly popular.
No, I'm not sure Jay Triano felt he was holding him or wanted a double foul called on that one.
Judge, timeout.
Timeout has been called here by New Zealand. And as I touched on, it's now a 9-point break going the way of the Canadians, 65 to 56, and time for one of those inspirational timeouts by the Kiwi coach, Keith Maher.
Keep attacking. As I said, don't worry about the score. Worry about the way we're playing. On a miss for a man, on a make, we're in the press, back to the 1-2-2. We don't need any silly fouls. We need good defence, good rebounding, 3 guys offensively rebounding, 2 safeties still, 5 guys rebounding and run. Let's go.
Yeah, well, Keith's pretty much on the money there. He's concentrated his time out on defence, which, without question, the right thing to do. They're going to play some changing defences. They're going to press, pick up full court on the made basket, drop back to man on the miss. As he's saying, you know, they've allowed them the uncontested 3-point shots at the 3-point line. Let's get a hand, force them further out. He's right on the money there, no doubt about it. If they can do that, then New Zealand can get themselves back in this game.
All that without a red face or without shouting. He's a new wave, a new age coach.
Keith's been around a long time, fairly composed.
Very composed.
You're not meant to do that.
It gets it back to 8. It's a good start.
It'll be interesting to see. They're going to go to their press here. You'll see it'll form a 1-2-2. Whether that gives the Canadians any problems or not. A quick turnover here would make a big difference.
Putting some full court pressure now on the Canadians.
Certainly creating some problems.
Oh, that was close to a turnover. It goes on for Canada now.
Not too far off a 10-second violation in the backcourt either, but the one thing it has done, it's taken time off the clock, and the Canadians are not quite organised in their zone offence to attack it, so it certainly served its purpose. The shot clock down to 5, so they need to get a quick shot up, as long as New Zealand don't foul here.
Just 2 seconds left. Oh, spectacular.
Wow.
That was simply spectacular. Sherman Hamilton with 1 second left on the shot clock from way downtown.
Yes, I think there was a little bit of luck in that off the backboard, and I think he was smiling about it as well. Yeah.
Let's see him nominate.
They're the ones that break your heart, though. No doubt that just deflates you. Terrific job when something like that happens.
Can't get a simple 2 at this stage. It's a Canadian ball. And that full court pressure, they'll try and apply that again. It takes a lot of stamina.
No question. Certainly interesting with Marks at the front line. His size, his athleticism is presenting them with some problems. The Canadians seem to be handling it fairly comfortably at the moment, so it'll be interesting to see now how they handle the zone. Be very disappointing for New Zealand, that last shot.
Off the boot.
Don't really want to do that if you can help it. The violation, the foot violation, resetting the shot clock. He may be lucky that they haven't reset it at this stage.
Yeah, they haven't. Still 13 seconds left at this
I'm
stage.
sure they're going to. No, they're going to reset it.
30
so
seconds there.
that's always another heartbreaker on defence. You've got the shot clock down and then something like that happens. So
Plenty of time for the Canadians to work towards a good solid 2-pointer.
they'll certainly waste some time on this.
And because we're approaching a final 3 minutes
good
of this
steal.
opening game, great steal. The Kiwis there are off and running. Lattimore it was, but
Yes.
eventually they get it.
Yes, past to Jones. Jones actually travelled and got away with it on that basket, I thought. But, gee, excellent defence by New Zealand. Caused another turnover. Wouldn't be surprised to see Jay Triano, if that occurs again, to go for the timeout button, although I think he's fairly comfortable with his team. They've handled it well the last couple of times. It's a fairly big basket right here. A 3-pointer would make an enormous impact on the game. Certainly would get New Zealand up and going.
We've had just 4 from the Kiwis. They're 4 from 7 and 57% from outside. They're thinking long and hard about it here. Rampton. Don't know if he was quite the man. No. That was the problem.
It was a terrific rebound by Lattimore to keep it alive. This is a big open shot again.
Lattimore again, so they're firing away at will.
Lattimore's run it down. A tremendous job. Got it to...
Tony
Rampton again. So, gee, a terrific effort there by Lattimore to stay in the game. A bit more desperation about the New Zealand team.
Pressure, short
tremendous hands.
Good steal.
To score this, they've got them in trouble.
Hanare.
Fantastic. Well, I would imagine we'll see the Canadians go for a timeout here. More steadier than anything else. They've just had a couple of quick turnovers and terrific defence by New Zealand. So their press has become very effective.
You've touched on Sean Marks, the job he's doing, because for a big man applying that pressure in the front court, he's doing a great job.
He's been very active, hasn't he? He's certainly not scared to dive on the floor and pick up the loose balls. It'll be interesting going to the Canadian timeout now and listen to Jay Triano. I think he's giving his players an opportunity just to talk amongst themselves, and then he'll come in with just a couple, 2 or 3 brief instructions.
Offense, gentlemen. Okay, press offense. Todd, when it goes here, are you open on the side? Okay, let's look for the things we're supposed to look for. Look side, look middle, look back. If it goes back, the guy who's back here, we got to be an option. You got to come high and hard. We're being pressed. You got to show up for your teammates. Okay? He goes here, then I think if we execute it the way we're supposed to execute, we'll score a layup. At that end down there, if they're in zone, we go blue. Start the 1-4, get with the touch, back, and go. Let's get a go, back and forth.
Hey, let's make him pay for layup. Layups on the other end. 1, 2, 3, get it.
Let's go.
Gotta run to the spots for the press break, guys.
Well, isn't it terrific? They've closed it back to 4. Jay with just a couple of final touches really to his group, just letting players know where he'd like them to be on the floor. Really saying to them, look guys, there's nothing to panic about. Let's stay composed. Everyone make sure they're available and we're in pretty good shape. It's always interesting in this game, the mindset of the players when it comes back to this. The Canadians got on top by being aggressive offensively, so he certainly wouldn't want them to go negative now and become tentative, and a press like this sometimes does that to you. You have that opportunity to move the ball down the floor.
Marks again, he's playing it, but Daniels is back out there. He's the trump card in the backcourt for the Canadians, Daniels.
Looks very composed against the pressure. He certainly ran that one down. It could have been a turnover.
Hamilton.
Shot clock sneaking down on the Canadians. They want to be careful. They're down to 10 again, so the zone has taken away the penetration.
Daniels is open. This one goes to Hamilton, pulls up. Marks with a
Terrific
very
rebound
good
by Marks.
defensive rebound. They fancy their chances at the moment, the Kiwis. Lattimore. That's Jones.
He's very keen to get the ball into Marks's hands now.
Rampton, that's Marks with the ball at the
make
moment. He fakes. Great move by Marks. He was fouled on the way up.
It certainly was. I think the Canadians are up saying that they felt that was a travel, and yeah, possibly so. We'd have to see it. Well, they certainly call the spin move a travel in the NBL. Whether they're allowing that a little bit more latitude in the Olympic Games, we'll have to wait and see. But certainly Marks is going to present him with some problems just with his speed. Quick substitution. Take McCulloch out. Henriksen back in. He matches up a little bit better, although Marks has size on him with speed and strength. He's probably able to contain him. And it gives them probably a little bit more against the press.
Marks, every point now so vital. Just 1:18 left on that clock. He needs to get it back to at least 2. He does that. This has been a very good fight back. They were down by 9 points at one stage midway through this second half. They've fought back. They'll be down by just the 2 now. And the full court pressure has been working for the Kiwis, but on that occasion, Jones just getting a fingertip to the ball.
Certainly taking the Canadians out of their rhythm. So, you know, excellent decision by the coach to change up the defences. Now the Canadians just need to stay aggressive. Certainly a basket here. Stating the obvious makes a big difference, but they need to get a clean shot away as opposed to one that's over hands.
Daniels again. Mavis.
Tough move.
Mavis.
The right decision, take it to the basket, try and draw a foul. Scenario now, as we saw for Marks, of course, these free throws become more vital. He's been very, very effective in this half for them after not seeing him in the first half. Mavis, hasn't he?
No doubt about that, has 7 points. He can make that 8 now, 3 from 7 from the field and 50% from the line. He improves on that. Anare. Daniels is on him. Rapton. Jones is the man. Jones. Oh, loose ball. That it was a crucial play.
It's a very expensive turnover now. Gee, it's interesting that possibly his first turnover for the game. He's been one of the players that's kept them in the game. So he may have to pick them up man to man now, try and draw a foul. Canadians getting an extra ball handler. Well, the question is whether to foul quickly now and make them shoot the free throw or try for the steal.
Yeah, Sean Swords is out there in singlet number 8. Hasn't seen a lot of court time in this game so far. Good pressure there, Swords now. Topu came at him. Plenty of time. Hamilton.
Clock becomes your best friend at this time, doesn't it?
There's 8 seconds left on that shot clock.
Terrific hands by Marks.
They need something spectacular.
It's unfortunate for New Zealand, you know, in the effort to Lattimore to try and get on the loose ball, drew a foul against Hamilton to send him to the free throw line, and just with 6 seconds left on the clock, it's fait accompli.
Been a good battle, this one, though. A lot better than many of the people thought it would be. They thought that it would well and truly favour the Canadians, but they have been made fight all the way. Sherman Hamilton. 18 points for Sherman Hamilton. He's been the star performer, no doubt about that, for Canada. 5 from 10 from the field. He's come up with 3 3-pointers and solid from the charity stripe. inside the final 3 seconds of this game. Topu. They pop it up, but time. The buzzer has beaten the Kiwis, and so too Canada. The Canadians coming from a bad deficit at the half-time break. They trailed by 34 to 26. At full time, though, the Canadians, very impressive in that second half, winning by 72 points to 66.
Well, the Tall Blacks had their chance with the 11-point lead in the second half, but couldn't close it out. You may remember last year the Canadians came here for 2 international matches, which were split, but not the Tall Blacks' day today. And it doesn't get any easier for them in this 4-nation tournament. Russia and Australia, both games highlighted with One World of Sport. Thanks for watching. More basketball tonight at 11. The Tall Blacks and the Russians, good morning to you.